Hey guys, Crystal here at Crystal's Crafties. Today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to wrap text around a shape. So here we've got the pencil. Teaching is a work of art is wrapping around it. And then over here we have the little nativity scene with "O come, let us adore him" all wrapped around it. We're going to do this in Inkscape. Inkscape is absolutely free. You download it onto your computer. I will link to another tutorial that shows you how to get that downloaded and all set up. Again, it is absolutely free. And this design that we're making, or this method for wrapping the text, is actually really easy. It will work for any shape at all that you can think of. So let me show you where I got the bow and the little nativity scene. I got them from Creative Fabrica. These are the bows. It comes with a yellow and a pink. And then here is the little nativity scene. I thought it was absolutely adorable. I have an all-access subscription. You pay $47 a year. So that's one time, $47, and you can download anything you want from Creative Fabrica for the whole year. If you want to try it out for free, I also have a link. You can get your first 10 downloads for free. So give that a try, get you some designs, and then let's hop back over into Inkscape and I'll show you how to do this. Alright, I'm decreasing the size of my screen. I just hit the minus sign on my keyboard and it decreased my screen size. I'm going to make a copy of this so I can keep this all intact but show you how I made it on a clean copy. So I'm going to right click, duplicate. There are now two. I'll just drag one over here. Okay, so I have this all grouped in together, but I'm going to ungroup it so I can delete the words. Again, right click, ungroup, and now these words just pull off all by themselves. I will backspace to get those deleted. Okay, here's our bow. We are just going to draw an outline around the bow. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be pretty. It just has to be the basic shape. So we're going to come grab our Bezier tool over here, and when I click it, I'm going to get a whole new menu up here. You want this first box, the Create Regular Bezier Path. Make sure that is selected. If you have one of these other ones, it's going to turn out funky. And then just with your mouse, start clicking around your bow. Literally does not have to be perfect. You just need the basic shape of your bow. Absolutely not perfect at all. When you are done, you see this little red line that keeps coming off of it. It's waiting for me to make my next click. Well, I'm done. So I'm going to click my selector tool. And then I get this shape here. If yours does not look like this, let's say yours looks like this. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll show you how to fix it. We're going to come over here to our fill and stroke menu. That is this guy right here. This is your toolbox over here. If you don't see the fill and stroke, you can just click this little down arrow and it's right here, fill and stroke. Click it and it will pull up for you. If yours is a big old solid shape like this, your fill is turned on and you need to turn it off. So this first thing right here is fill. This box is selected. That's a solid fill. We want no fill. If we click this little X, that line goes away. Awesome. Now this shape right here, this outline that we just made, for you, it might look like this. It might be super skinny. Again, well, it needs to be there. Don't worry about that. If, let's say, hold on, I want to show you all the different options you might end up with. So let's say you got this right here and you turn your fill off like I told you to do, and then everything goes away. Don't worry, what you just drew is still there. We just need to turn the stroke on. So we'll come over here to stroke, and right now that X is selected. We want the flat color, we want the first box selected, and now your stroke pulls up. As long as you can see this line, you are good to go. This is your stroke line. Make sure your stroke is on that first box. Make sure your fill is turned off. Nothing else matters. Does not matter how thick this line is, doesn't matter what color it is, just as long as you can see it. Okay, so here's our little shape. It's all selected, but we want to smooth it out. We don't want our words to be all jagged like that. So with your line selected, come and click this little nodes tool here, and you're going to get a whole new menu again, right? Come over to this guy right here, make selected nodes smooth. Okay, so we need to, if we're going to make selected nodes smooth, we need to select them, right? They are not actually selected. Draw yourself another box around. Make sure you get every one of those little shapes in there. Now they're selected. They all turned blue. Okay, come right here. Click that, make selected node smooth. Just click it. And it smoothed out that entire shape. I'm going to click off of it so you can see how smooth it got. Awesome, right? And again, if it's not quite perfect yet, don't worry about it. Let's just get these words going. So I'm going to click off of here. I'm going to kind of scroll up a little bit to some empty space. Grab my text tool. And I'm going to start typing. That is huge. Okay, so Inkscape remembers everything that you previously did. It remembered that I just turned off the fill and I turned on the stroke. Well, I need to do the exact opposite for my letters. I don't want a stroke around it. So I'm going to take the stroke, turn it off, take the fill, turn it on. Now I have a regular letter. I just have a huge regular letter. Let me make this, let me select it and make it be like 100. No, 100. Okay, there we go. And now, that's still just huge. I'm going to select it and use my handles to shrink it down. Okay. And I don't want this font. So Inkscape does not have its own fonts. It works off of whatever you have installed on your computer. So if you have some great fonts installed, they will show up in Inkscape as soon as you get that downloaded onto your computer. If you don't have any great fonts installed, hop yourself right over to Creative Fabrica, come to fonts, and get ready to be here for a while because they have tons and tons and tons and tons of fonts. And if you have your subscription, you get them all for free. Okay, so get some installed on your computer. I do have another tutorial. I can show you how to install and work with those fonts. I'll link it in the video description. All right, this is not a font that I want to use. So once I've got this selected, I can come up here as long as I'm in my text tool. I'm not even sure if I showed you guys. To enter your text, you click on your text tool and then you just click your screen and a cursor will pull up. Let's see, let's get something. There is a preview that will show up over here of the fonts. My computer, because I have my screen recording software on, it is running a little bit slow, so it's not showing you. Ooh, I didn't mean to change it to that. Let's see, there we go. I'm just gonna put it here. No, I'm not. Let's put it here. Okay, it's not the best font in the world, but it's what I'm gonna show you this tutorial with. So teaching. I'm gonna type it a few times. And one more. Oops. Okay, so I've got all of that on there. I'm just going to kind of shrink it down. Also, you need to make sure your design is locked. This little lock up here, click it shut so that everything stays in proportion. Okay. So this whole thing is trial and error. I know that's going to need to be bigger. Actually, I'm going to need another "This is a work of art." Okay. Now I'm going to click off of that. Used my selector tool. So here is my text that I typed in. With it selected, I'm going to hold Shift and click on that line that we drew around the bow. Now I've got the text selected. I've got my line selected. I'm going to come to Text and put on Path. And just like that, it took the words and it put them on that path. And they happen to be aligned just right. That is because I do this often and I'm able to get it right just by eyeballing it. It's not going to look perfect for you the first time. Let me just show you. Okay, I hit Control Z to take it off the path. Let's say that's bigger. Okay. I hit Shift, so they're both selected. My little shape is selected. My words are selected. Text, put on Path. Now it's not perfect. Do you see half of my word is cut off? This ing, well, where's the beginning of teach or teaching? And the word heart is completely gone. So if you see that, you need to play around with a few things. You can play around with how big your word is. You can play around with how many times you have typed in the word. So what you can do is take it off of the path. So text, remove from path. And from here, you can make it smaller. That's going to be way too small, but let me show you what that looks like. Then I'll select them both again. Text, put on path. And now I've got all my words, but it doesn't go all the way down. So I'm going to need it bigger. Take it back off the path. Make it a little bigger. Let's try that. Text, put on path. Okay, and that's what I'm going to go with. If that's the design that I've got and that's the way I want it to look, I need to delete the line that I drew so that I just have the words around it. Now guys, I know this one's not looking perfect. We're going to do one more so I can show you all of this again and then how to tweak it. Okay, so here's my words. I'm like, yep, that's great. Let's make that stick. One very important thing, these words, in order for them to hold this position, you have to turn them into a path. So just select your words, come to Path, Object to Path, and now if you delete this line that you drew, your words stay just how they were. If you do not do that, I'm Control Z to get out of that. Let me show you what happens. So here's my text. It's wrapped around. I think it looks great. I'm going to go delete this line. Whoops. My words didn't hold their shape because they were not turned into a path. So what do? Select the words, Path, Object to Path. Now I can delete this line and I've got this guy going on here. Okay, so there is option number 1. Let's do option number 2. And I'm going to show you some other things that might happen and some ways to really, really tweak that design. Okay, so again, I will right click, duplicate. I'll ungroup this guy. Right click, ungroup. Get rid of those words there. Okay, we're going to start the same way. We are going to draw our little line. So we come to our Bezier tool. Make sure the first one is selected. And then just start clicking away at the shape of the bow. Again, does not have to be perfect. That is nowhere near perfect, but it's the basic shape that I need. When I'm done, click my selector tool. I have to go and turn my fill off. I'm already in my fill and stroke tool. So fill, click it off, stroke, click it on. Yours might already be on. It's just depending on what you might have done last in Inkscape. Okay, here's my line. I actually want to thicken that line just a little bit, so I went to stroke style. Just because it makes it a little bit easier to see when I move it around, which is what I'm going to do on this one. So we need to smooth it out, right? So while it's selected, I'm going to grab my nodes. I'm going to drag a box around it all so that my nodes highlight and turn blue, and I'm going to smooth them out. Selected nodes, or make selected nodes smooth. Yes, please. Okay. While they are here, I can start playing around with them. They were all selected the first time, that's why the whole thing moved. I had to click off and just select the one node. Okay, that already looks a ton better. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. We're going to put our words around it. Oh, you know what? That's going to be sticking out too far. Let's try that. That's probably going to need to come. If you have really tight corners like this, your letters are going to get jumbled. So you want to avoid any super tight corners, okay? Let's see. Not only just dragging these nodes, but you can also come and get these handles and move them around too. So just play with it and get it to look the way you want. This is definitely a trial and error. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get. Just keep playing with it. Okay, so here's the shape. Now let's get our words. So I'm going to come to my text tool. Whoop, okay. I want to fill. I do not want to stroke. Okay. Oh, come. Let us adore him. Also, you see these little hollowed out points. Once we turn this into a path at the very end, when we've got our words looking the way we want them, those will go away. If you have a font that has that, don't you worry about it. Okay. I need a few more of these. Let's just try 2 and see what we get. So I've got it selected. I know I need it to be way smaller. And now I'm gonna want one more in here. Oh, come let us adore him. Okay. So here is my word. I am going to get my selector tool. My words are selected, hold shift, select my outline that I made, text, put on path. And again, it turns out pretty good simply because I just do it a lot so I can eyeball it, but you will work with it just the way I showed you before. Now, some other things. You might have, let's see, it's not going to do it because of my settings. If for some reason you have your words wrapping on both sides of your line, all you need to do is click your text, or you might need to double click into it until you can get your cursor. Just put that cursor where your words start and start hitting that space. And it is moving. Do you see how it's moving the words along? It will unwrap them for you. It will start unwrapping the word. And you can hit backspace and you can just do it until you get your word exactly where you want it. You can do this to line everything up as well. You might need to come and take your word off the path. So text, remove from path. You might need to make your words bigger or smaller. Whatever you need to do, keep playing around with it till you get them to wrap around and they look nice. I'm going to put them back on their path. Text, put on path. Now something else. I'm going to blow this up really big. Whoop. This is what I told you. When you have these tight areas, this adore, A-D-O-R-E, is a little jumbled. If you don't like it, if it's just too much of a mess for you, what you can do is select the line that you drew, come grab your nodes tool, and do you see the little nodes that popped up in here? I can take this and I can push it out, and it kind of unjumbles the letters. You see how, like, as I move this around, the letters are moving around with it? Everything will follow whatever I do. So if there's a little area that just doesn't look quite right, you can edit it that way too. Okay, so let's say we're good. That's how we want everything. Actually, my word needs to move a little bit. Playing with the line alignment over there kind of got me off center. Okay, that's what we're going to go with. Okay, so I'm good. My words look just the way I want them to. I need them to stay in place when I delete that line I drew. So with my words all selected, I'm going to come path, object to path, and now I can delete this little line, and I have my completed design with the words wrapped around it just like I wanted. It's super, super easy. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.